If you're here, you might be thinking a little about your home, your independence, and how life is changing, even if nothing feels urgent. This series is called Aging Gracefully, Hope, and a Plan. It was created for homeowners who want to think ahead without being pushed to decide. Each video on this playlist explores a different part of what it means to live well in your home over time, from independence and effort to fit, energy, and readiness. These conversations are not about selling, downsizing, or creating timelines. They're about understanding how your home supports you now, where it might quietly ask more of you, and what options exist even if you never use them. You don't need to watch these videos in order. You don't need to finish the whole series, and you don't need to act on anything you hear. Think of this playlist as a place for you to pause the conversation, so clarity comes first and your choices stay intact. Whenever you're ready, we can begin thinking ahead together. If the idea of thinking ahead about your home as life changes makes you feel uneasy, you're not alone. For many homeowners, especially those who've lived in their homes for a long time, even thinking about what's next can feel like a thought you notice and then quickly set aside because you're not ready to deal with it yet. It can feel like once you start thinking about it, somehow you'll be pushed into a decision that you're not ready to make. So I want to be very clear right from the start. Thinking ahead about your home does not mean you have to decide anything. In fact, giving yourself permission to think without deciding is often what protects your choices rather than taking them away. This conversation is about understanding how your home fits your life today without changing anything about it. So let's slow this down together. I'm going to walk you through a few simple reflections, not questions you have to answer today, just ideas you can sit with. For example, this might look like noticing that your home works well for everyday living and wondering, how would it support you if your routines or energy levels changed over time? You're not deciding anything, you're simply observing how today's home matches a future version of your daily life. When you think about the future, what feels most important to protect in your day-to-day life? As life changes, this question matters more than where you live or how much space you have. Maybe it's your routines, your privacy, your independence, your connection to neighbors or to nature. This isn't about square footage or real estate terms. It's about the parts of your day that happen automatically without effort or adjustment. Thinking ahead starts here by naming what matters most before anything ever has to change. Now, let's look at the present. What parts of your home feel easy and supportive right now? Maybe it's the layout you know by heart, the way the light moves through the house at certain times of day, or the familiarity that makes daily life feel steady. These are the parts of your home you don't have to think about to get through the day. Thinking ahead doesn't mean dismissing them. It means making sure they're protected as life changes over time. Any future option worth considering should support what's already working. At the same time, it's okay to notice this. What part of your home takes more energy than it used to, even if it's still manageable? Maybe you can still manage the yard, but it now takes most of Saturday instead of an hour. Or the stairs are fine, but you definitely notice them more when carrying laundry or groceries. These observations are not signals to act. They're information, nothing more. Often, effort shows up in the way you start planning around things that used to happen without much thought. An awareness like this is one of the best ways to stay in control. Here's an important question. If nothing had to change this year, what would you still want clarity about? That might sound like asking yourself, if things stayed mostly the same for a while, would this home still support the way I live? That kind of question doesn't require a plan or a timeline. It simply helps you understand what's possible, even if you never have to act on it. Most people avoid thinking ahead because they believe thinking leads to deciding. But thinking ahead is really about understanding what would work, what would be harder, and what would stay the same. That understanding gives you options. So let me ask you this. What would it feel like to think ahead without having to decide anything yet? For most people, the answer is the same. A huge sigh of relief. Thinking ahead is simply collecting information about your own life, and information never forces decision. You don't need to know your next step today. You don't need to label this season of life. Thinking ahead thoughtfully and calmly means fewer unanswered questions in the background of your daily life. And that is what hope in a plan is really about. If this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to sit with these reflections a little longer. I've created a simple worksheet to help you think through them at your own pace. And if you ever want to talk, not to make decisions, but simply to gain clarity, I am here as a trusted resource. Remember, sometimes the most powerful step forward is allowing questions to exist without needing answers yet.